What's up everyone, it's Mr. Premps, and today I bring you a topic that I think most of the fandom think about quite a lot, and it's one of the most hyped characters in the story, and that's absolutely Sanji. Nah, I'm playing. I'm a Sanji stan, but today's video is not going to be about Sanji, but it's on the future world's strongest swordsman, the right hand man to the future pirate king, and that's Zoro. So on a more serious note, the reason I decided to make this video is due to everything that's happened in One Piece so far, and with the last chapter in chapter 988, that clash that we got between King and Sanji. I saw so many comments beforehand talking about how King was meant to be Zoro's fight, as he has a sword and Zoro has a sword. He's Kaido's right hand man and Zoro's meant to be Luffy's right hand man, and honestly I almost agree with those thoughts. But that got me thinking, Whole Cake Island was effectively meant to be Sanji's arc, and looking back most people would probably say that he didn't gain that much from it apart from his raid suit, which I disagree with, but as this isn't a Sanji video, the question that I'm posing to be answered is, what do we need from Zoro in Wano? Because if it's just the equivalent of baking a cake and a small power up, or Enma being the equivalent of the raid suit, is that effectively enough? And to be honest, I actually don't know. I actually don't want to come across as if I'm complaining, because I'm a huge fan of Oda, but post time skip, what has Zoro really achieved? I mean honestly, who has he fought? Who has he fought that was of any real prominence? Actually, I think I'm getting a bit ahead of myself here. There's a lot to talk about, so what I'll do is I'll just break this up into sections, and hopefully I'll be able to put some timestamps into this video so you can all go to whichever section interests you the most. So the first thing I really want to talk about, and the first thing that I think that we need from Zoro and Wano is in regards to his heritage. I think generally in the One Piece community we've all come to the conclusion that Zoro has some sort of ties to Wano. The current backstory we have of Zoro consists of his time in the dojo in what I believe was Shimotsuki village. We get his backstory with Kuina and find out that her father was actually his master, but what we don't get is his actual origins. I mean, who are his parents? What happened to them? And where are they from? In fact, where are they now? I want to draw the same parallels to Sanji here because I feel like his backstory gave us the details we needed of what happened before we met him in Baratie with Zeph. The whole Zo to Whole Cake Island arc did a good job of the explanation of his mother, his father and also his siblings, and I think we need something similar, although not the same, but those sort of clarifications for Zoro, particularly whilst we're in his supposed arc which is Wano. Now an example of his ties to Wano actually involves Momonosuke. When he was training with Otama and Okiku and Momo said the infamous words, "snatch," he was told very quickly by Okiku not to use that word as it was an old Kuri dialect and someone of royal status, or should I say of Momo's class, shouldn't be using it. In this encounter, Momo actually explained that he learnt this word from Zoro, to which he suggested that maybe it's just a coincidence. But us as readers, we know that there is no such thing as a mere coincidence, and this got me thinking, how did Zoro actually learn that word? A word that was linked to the land of Wano. We've not heard him use it before, from my memory anyways, so this clearly is something that he's picked up beforehand. The fact that Zoro is teaching this word to a young child in Momonosuke must mean that it's something that Zoro learned as a young child himself. So I did my research, and in SBS 96 we actually have clarification of this, but this hasn't been fully fledged in the story. The SBS explains how Kuina's grandfather was Kozaburo, who was actually from the land of Wano, and he was the man that forged 2 of the 21 great swords in Enma and Wado Ichimonji, 2 swords that Zoro actually has. Zoro actually learned the word snatch whilst overhearing him train. Now I'm sure Zoro doesn't actually know the origin of this word, nor his original master's ties to the land of Wano country, and whilst I do think it would be great for Zoro to find out, I don't believe that that's enough of a backstory for him. I think whilst we're here in Wano, we need to see more about his family lineage, and whether they were of royalty just like Sanji, or maybe they were infamous such as Luffy. Could it be that Zoro is actually meant to bring honor back to his family name? I think if we were to get some sort of clarification on this, that will be satisfactory to us as readers. I feel as if I've ranted on too much a bit there, but there's still 2 more things I think we need from Zoro, and the next is a solid fight. I'm sure all of you expected this, but literally, has Zoro even had a decent fight post time skip? That's actually a rhetorical question, because no, he's not. Zoro's toughest fight post time skip has probably been his most recent, and that's against Kamazo, before he was revealed to be Killer, and in that fight, it literally meant nothing. Both fighters were nerfed and we really didn't see them go all out. And by all out, I mean to the death. I feel like I draw comparisons to Sanji quite a lot, but in this case, let's just look at the monster trio as a whole. I know Sanji gets grilled a lot for facing opponents out of his league, but I do think that's quite good for us. Sanji's clashes with the likes of Virgo and Dofi are a great way for Oda to almost power scale. If we take Dofi for example, although that was just a clash, he did comment on Sanji being a strong one, but evidently not strong enough to worry him. And to us as readers, we can actually accept that, as even Luffy couldn't beat Dofi one-on-one and required the support from Law and his broken abilities. Let's take a look at Luffy's journey post time skip. He's had fights with the likes of Dofi, but more importantly with the likes of Katakuri, and I think this has been absolutely brilliant. We've seen his growth and we've seen his development, and we've actually seen him push to his limits. Like literally with Gear Force drawbacks, we've seen him push to his limit. And so mentally this is great, because when we see Luffy in a battle now, it has us pondering whether Luffy can actually defeat his opponent promptly, or whether he's going to be able to counter his drawback and change out of gears like he's able to do now for Gear 3. I guess what I'm getting at here is, we haven't actually had that for Zoro. It feels like Zoro is having a walk in the park in the new world, and that shouldn't be the path to the world's strongest swordsman. Because as it stands right now, nothing would have me believe that Zoro can defeat Mihawk right now. However, we're starting to see Luffy close the gap on the top tiers. I feel like Zoro needs that big fight, and quite frankly, I think he needs that grand humbling, realizing he's actually not as strong as he thought he was, and through this we'll see him grow. The last point I want to make on what I think that we need from Zoro in Wano is a Zoro takeaway. And by this I mean, what is Zoro going to get from Wano? What is it that he gains that leads him to his ultimate goal? My hope is that this will be a sword technique. We were told that Wano is the land of samurai, and this had most of us quite excited to see what Oda had in store for us. And it's almost been quite upsetting that we haven't actually seen anything mind-blowing from a samurai perspective anyways. I look back at Zoro's growth and also the journey he's had in the story, and one of the really cool moments I think we had was Zoro vs Mr. One, or Daz Bones, however you'd like to refer to him. And at that point in the story, Zoro had the aim to cut steel, which ultimately he did achieve. And to me that was such a big feat, because we got to see his growth in that moment. So what really excited me is when we go back and we look at Kinemon's introduction on Punk Hazard, which I believe was absolutely fantastic anyways, and I think it was the moment where they were in a bit of a pinch with that smiley monster thing, and Kinemon literally cut it using fire, and then he cut out the fire with his own sword, and he mentions that there's no fire that he can't cut. And I think in that moment every Zoro fan was thinking, oh my gosh, Zoro is going to learn this, and we really haven't got much since then. To be honest, Kinemon in some way has become an unserious character since then, to the extent that most people don't even believe he's strong anymore. However, the reason I actually bring him up is he mentioned it was his Firefox style or Foxfire style, and surely the samurai in Wano must have their own techniques. Actually thinking about it, I would love a certain sword technique to be specifically linked to clans or family names, and if we were to go full circle and find out Zoro's family lineage was indeed from Wano, could it be that there's a specific sword technique that only the Roronoas can inherit? That would be actually great. However, this is my headcanon, and I know a lot of people are thinking, yeah, well, Zoro has Enma, and yes, this is probably satisfactory, but I think a sword technique picked up from the land of Wano is far more useful and something that may potentially shock the likes of Mihawk in the future, and that will truly be amazing. Anyway, all in all, I think Wano most definitely has something in store for Zoro, and knowing Oda, whatever he does won't let us down. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. What do you think we'll see from Zoro and Wano? If you like anything I've had to say, please leave a like on the video as it helps so much. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit that bell notification so you can get updates whenever I upload to this channel. Safe!